Thank you. That arrangement was done by me, 8-part a cappella, and was sung by one of my choirs, the Philharmonic Chamber Choir of Singapore. And that was just to demonstrate how a simple song can become much more interesting. Okay? My fascination with music began at the age of 5. And I was intensely watching someone practice the piano. And when she got off the seat, I plunked myself down. To everyone's surprise, I played what she had just played. Surprised because I had not had any lesson at all, and neither could I read a single note. Unknowingly, that could have sparked the birth of my musical journey, which is still ongoing now and will no doubt go on till I breathe my last breath. Music teachers were hard to come by then, more so in a small town. So I actually started formal lessons only when I was 9. At 12, I won the top prize in a state talent time, playing 4 of my favorites of different genres. I played, what was the first? 12th Street Rag, which is a ragtime piece. Then I played a popular pop song then, Fascination. I played the Latin favorite, Besame Mucho. And I played In the Mood, which is a boogie woogie. After that, I guess my parents decided that perhaps I should move on to greener pastures. At 13, I actually left home. Having an education overseas then could only be a dream. My father was an engineer, but I was the 7th of 8 siblings. And the rate of exchange then was a whopping 850 Malaysian to the British pound. Fortunately, after I had done 2 licentiate diplomas under the Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music from the UK, I was awarded a Malaysian Federal Scholarship to further my studies at the Royal School of my choice. I'm proud to say I graduated winning prizes of Best All-Round Student as well as for Harmony and Counterpoint. However, there wasn't much happening in the way of music when I returned. And I felt that perhaps maybe I could try to make a change. The best way, I guess, was through group music making, such as forming a choir or an orchestra. But for an orchestra, you'd have to spend a lot of money buying expensive instruments. So having a choir was the cheapest way of doing it. So I set to work on the choir of the institution where I was posted. When they started winning competitions at national level, the attitudes changed. And others also showed interest in joining the choir when they saw the confidence, the self-esteem, and the limelight that their friends were getting on stage. Competitions are good. They push you to improve and keep you on your toes. But it's not always about winning. You also need to learn to cultivate and demonstrate the spirit of sportsmanship. Now, having been a national sportswoman myself, I don't look it, but I was a hurdler and a long jumper. But, and coupled with being involved in choirs, I guess I had a double dose of the spirit of sportsmanship. And likely some of it rubbed off onto my choir members. Like I said, winning is not the be-all and the end-all. The exposure, the experience, and the participation are more important. The challenge is within you yourself. I'd like to relate a few instances that happened along my journey. There was this girl who had a nice voice, but she often missed practices. So one day I told her, I don't want you in my choir anymore. You can leave. She stormed off, scowled at me, and shouted loudly in Hokkien dialect, "You are crazy." I later learnt that she was the leader of the girls' gangsters of that co-ed school. I was horrified. What if she stuck a knife in my back? However, 2 weeks later, she came back and asked me if I would take her back, and she apologized. So I did. Probably it was the power of music that lured her back. Perhaps it was the camaraderie that she missed when she left the choir. Or whatever, she became a changed person. She was more disciplined, more diligent, and more responsible. She actually turned over a new leaf. I was also tasked to prepare the same choir for competition. But the minimum number of people in the choir had to be 30, and we only had 15 who could barely sing. So in came another 15 new singers, randomly plucked from somewhere, and with no audition. I dubbed these 15 people my phantom singers. Why? There wasn't much time to prepare for the competition. So I told them, just mouth the words, put on the facial expressions as if you know what you're singing, and sing quietly, very quietly. The two songs that they sang were painstakingly chosen to suit the ability, or should I say the inability, of the choir. Imagine the screams of joy when they found that they had won a prize. So from then on, I was dubbed a miracle worker. But I told them, no, it was you who did it. At the other extreme, there was this group of people, another choir, who had some members who were professionals in fields other than music, but with interest in music. They would plan their business trips such that they left after choir practice, or they would come back before the next choir practice. Such was the commitment and dedication. Again, traits which you get from a choir from being in participating in group music making. In such groups also, social status consciousness is non-existent. Everyone is equal. And everyone can enjoy music making. You don't have to be a pro. Just learn along the way. This group went and participated in an international choral competition held in Hungary. There we stayed at Thermal Spa Hotel, which had pools ranging from very hot to icy cold. After the competition, when the results were announced that we had won a few prizes, including a top prize, we decided to try out those pools. That night was the Champions Concert. And being assistant conductor and singer of the choir, I was given pride of place to stand right in the center of the front row. But woe betide. After the pool experience, I totally lost my voice. I couldn't even utter a squeal. I couldn't walk off the stage. So what did I do? I did exactly what I told my phantoms to do. Mouth the words, put on the facial expressions as if I was singing. The show had to go on. Another time, which I tried, I ventured to try choral speaking with a group. We did the Vowels, or in English, the Waltz, by Austrian composer Ernst Toch. Speaking chorus is like a choir piece, except that instead of singing, you speak the words in rhythm. The participants were 20 senior members of a ladies' club. Musical knowledge, practically nil. Vocal ability, vocal talent, not that I knew of. But it was a difficult and challenging piece, but the ladies were game to try. I also told them, if you don't try, you'll never know what you're capable of. Well, we worked on it for quite a few months, which was a real test of patience, perseverance, and tolerance. But we did it. We performed to an audience of 400 at a dinner. And everyone was happy at the end of it all. The audience was quite delighted because it was quite a humorous work. And you should listen to it if you can. Google it. The Vowels by Ernst Toch. And the participants were very proud of themselves. They thought it was a very fulfilling and great achievement of something that they never imagined they could do. Music is also about creativity, and music brings people together. I was commissioned to do a piece to reflect the Multicultural Society of Singapore, and it was to be performed by my contemporary a cappella jazz group at the opening of Singapore Heritage Week. It was no mean feat, but luckily I managed to put together an English song, On the Streets of Singapore, a Malay song, Getaran Jiwa, a Tamil song, Kush Kush Hotahe, Hotahe, and a Chinese song, Ye Lai Xiang. All 4 songs interwoven and intertwined into one piece of harmony. Finally, I'd like to share with you, I used to have a reputation of not being very punctual, and I would often show up late at functions. I make grand entrances at functions. So much so that a very close friend of mine once jokingly said, "Please don't ask Juliette to play at my funeral. She'll probably turn up after I'm buried." Well, this same friend, a few weeks ago, was warded at the ICU at a hospital in Toronto, half conscious. Her son, knowing that she used to love listening to me play the piano, asked me to send a recording over so that he could play it at her bedside. So I did just that. It made my day. Apparently, she opened her eyes and smiled. The latest is that she's out of the woods and on the road to recovery. Now, I'd just like to play you that song that I sent her. Somewhere over the rainbow,